Hello everyone, welcome to this week's tutorial video. My name is Blythe and I'm here from the Tips team. Notice our new branding here and on our website. Go check it out and see all the updates. This week's topic is professional tasks and workflow with AI. This video is part of a series and is complemented by the first 3 episodes, so be sure to go and check them out. Episode 1 is all about AI literacy, giving you the foundations and background so you know how each of these tools is working. Episode 2 goes deep into privacy and data security, and that's important to know as all of our resources right now are focused on teacher use, but I'm sure those will soon transfer to student use, so good practice to be checking terms of use and privacy policies before introducing any of these tools to our students. And the third video is all about prompt generation with AI. You'll hear as we go through this video and talk a little bit about evaluating product as well as process that prompt generation is a big part of that. So I highly recommend watching that video before this one. The goal of this video is to give you some steps and questions to ask when integrating tools into your workflow. Particularly, we'll organize those around 3 categories: to plan, implement, and then evaluate. And this is all to ensure that you get the greatest impact on your workflow, whatever you decide that to be. The steps we'll look at will encourage you to reflect on the process of adding AI into your workflow and how does that make adjustments along the way, and also to reflect on the products that you're creating using AI tools. For this portion of the video, I've moved over into a Google Doc in page list format. Page list format allows me to highlight the key ideas in headings and then collapse the text underneath for the details. So you'll have a look here. We're going to review the steps in a new document that's being released as a resource very soon. And then we'll look at the 3 examples that are collapsed here underneath the headings. So first, under Plan, Implement, and Evaluate, I have the new resource open called Adding AI into Your Workflow. Here's what that looks like with background and purpose at the beginning as well as an introduction. And then the steps, 10 of them, organized into the 3 categories of Plan, Implement, and Evaluate. So let's review these before we go look at some examples. In the planning phase, there are 6 steps. Many of these you will already take naturally when you're implementing any technology tool into your workflow, but a few particular ones to point out when using AI. So starting off with identifying your personal areas of strength as well as value in your work. Then moving on and matching those with areas of demand in your current workflow. It's great here to consider the ideas of your colleagues that you might collaborate with, as well as your school administrator or your supervisor, so they understand what you are engaging in here in using some different AI tools. There are many, many tools out there and they are coming fast and furious with new ones being added all the time. So this research step here is really ongoing. And be sure to check our Tips AI and Education page on our website for more information and this list here posted of just a few of the tools that are out there. Of course, we here include that privacy in terms of use review. Also be sure to check our EdTech Tools Privacy Review database for other suggestions and AI tools being added there very soon. Then, of course, with all that reflection, matching your task to the platform that you are interested in that has the features you're looking for. And then I'll pause here on step 6 to establish some personal goals. What is it you're hoping to accomplish by adding AI tools into your workflow? And by setting up some measures and some reflection points in a timeline, you can then further understand, is this AI tool impacting my workflow how I expected, or maybe in other ways that you weren't expecting? That then moves us into the implementation phase. So 2 steps here, obviously experimenting and implementing, exploring different tools, trying them out in your workflow. And then of course the AI prompt generation is certainly part of that. But then allowing time for critical review And here's where we're looking at the process as well as definitely the product to uncover any hidden biases, any inaccuracies, oversimplification, both of content and perspective, and then ensuring that we are matching the rigor required in the outcomes with what it is we are creating. Step 9 in the implementation phase is to cite your sources and certainly disclose to the audience that you are using AI tools and how you're doing that. So we continue this reflective conversation both with our colleagues and with our students. And there's step 10 to complete the cycle and really go back and repeat the whole process is you're evaluating, you're reflecting on those goals set earlier in the planning phase, and then making adjustments. So like I say, you're maximizing that impact on your workflow, whether that's for time savings, efficiency, organization, creation of content, whatever your goal may be. So from here, I've jumped back to our Google Doc to show you the 3 examples and give you just a little bit of info about the reflections that I provided both in process and product as I went through these examples. So example number 1 was using a generative AI to create images from text. I chose Adobe Express and had great success. I gave it 3 different prompts, each time giving more information and clarity as to the response that I wanted. I was quite pleased with how the content was organized, that I was able to select from, and that each time the prompt was responsive. I was able to see similarities and differences, and then really specify into what I wanted. So of course, first just a professional at a computer. I wanted it in a clip art style. And then I said, no, actually, I wanted an inclusive group of individuals working at a computer. So I would prompt further here, but this is certainly a quality product for what I was looking for. And it was fast to create, faster than having to search for an image that didn't necessarily meet the specificities I was looking for. Here in example number 2, I was using a text creation tool, and in this case I wanted to create passages for student reading, so they had some content in social studies, and then I was adjusting the content to perspectives and reading levels. So for this I used Canva Magic Write, a student-friendly tool for first draft writing, built right into Canva. So I was pleased with the content in the first description. I asked for a description of the creation of Canada. It was appropriate, albeit very general. Not a lot of details, but I could certainly have prompted for details. It certainly was written from one perspective, so I was uncovering bias and I gave it a different perspective. So my prompt evaluation or my prompt generation here was accurate. It definitely adjusted as I went through. And then here I wanted it to adjust for reading level. Now here's where I found it fell down a little bit. So in my process evaluation, I found that my process was fine, but the product that it created needed further review. The sentences were awkward, some of the information was repetitive, and I would certainly say that this was not at a grade 3 reading level, so I would need to go back and make some adjustments. And here for example number 3, this was also an example using text creation. In this case I used ChatGPT as I wanted kind of that broad strokes look. And in fact for further review I might use an AI tool specific to educators like Magic School and then do a comparison to what ChatGPT comes up with. But in this case I asked it for a lesson plan. And I have the lesson plan open here, so we'll jump to that in just a second. And then I gave it 3 more prompts to specify the content as well as the lesson plan. And then here I have just the final definition that it provided. So from here I'll jump over to the lesson plan that ChatGPT created for me and provide my reflections. The lesson plan initially created was appropriate, albeit quite general in its teaching approach. It seems kind of like it's following a formula, and the suggestions for teaching episodes were quite general or predictable, I'd say. It was initially for grades 9 to 12, as you can see here. So my first prompt was to ask it to change it to grade 6 student level. And I found in that way it was quite effective. It changed both the content as well as some of the language to a younger audience. But I still found that much of the material created here in the lesson plan was quite general. I didn't have the specifics of the information that I needed. So I gave it a separate prompt and asked it to create a checklist for evaluating the credibility of online sources. That matches with the outcome I gave it. That was also quite effective. Then I asked it to create a definition for me of lateral reading. So again, with the same content idea here. And in this way, I found that the definition was actually quite wordy. It was probably longer than it needed to be, with some repetition of ideas, so this would need further review. So my evaluation here, if I was new to teaching a subject or new to a content area, I think this is a great way to get started. I think I would need to refer back to more of my teaching materials here to ensure the accuracy of some of the specifics and ensure the processes match with one of my texts. Okay, so those are my 3 examples of how I used AI in my professional workflow and some of my reflections along the way. I hope this encourages you to slow down and make time for planning, implementing, and evaluating when adding AI tools to your workflow. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more weekly videos, and we'll see you next time.